This week's episode of I Was a Teenage Film Snob is not brought to you by the McDonald's Happy Meal train. Welcome to I Was a Teenage Film Snob. I'm James Chalmers, your friendly neighbourhood film snob.
Oh, if you heard that growl, guess who that is?
The intro's been ruined. No, we're continuing our dive into the 90s. We're almost done. I think there's only a couple of people left to talk through. Before we wrap that up and head on to the next phase or the next topic, which I'm getting very excited about. You've already heard today's guest. I was going to do a bit of an intro, but she's let the game go.
Well, our other guest is also this little puppy here who growled in the middle of your intro.
Yeah, our 9-year-old, 10-year-old. I can't remember how old he is.
He can't be 10. I don't want him to be 10.
I think he's 10 this year.
Turning 10.
Turning 10, yeah. Yeah, so Loki, who will not be providing a list of movies, is here.
Yeah.
And if you couldn't tell by her voice, my wife Tina has returned to the show. You might not
have been able to tell by my voice because I'm quite sick. I sound a bit emphysemic.
Well, I also don't sound the best.
Emphysema?
I don't think so.
No, but emphysema is...
Emphysema is a... Yeah. We're getting way off topic already.
Emphysemic.
They might be like, it's called I Was a Teenage Film Snob, but it doesn't sound like the guy.
Yeah.
I'm also a bit nasally. We are running the weather a little bit.
Yeah.
We've been ill for the last week, but my dedication to my craft knows no bounds.
That's right, exactly.
I was like, we'll get it done.
Not hell nor sleet.
Is that the postman thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. This intro is really falling apart. We are talking 90s movies. That's what we've been doing for the last month or so. Tina is going to bring her list today.
Oh, boy, is it a good one.
And I'm bringing my list as well because I haven't done my 90s films. So very excited about that. But before we jump into our list, Tina, what we do with all these topics is, do a bit of a dive into the meaning behind it and what do the 90s mean to you?
Well, the 90s is my childhood, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's both of our childhoods. We're 88 babies.
That's right.
We were born in 88, so we don't remember much of the 80s at all. We only would have been 2 by the time it ended. So the 90s is really our childhood. And when I think of 90s, the first thing that comes to mind is really great, well-made toys. Weren't the toys in the 90s just brilliantly made?
You have the rise of the action figure. I know people say the 80s. In the 80s they did do it, but 90s I think they perfected it.
And they really pushed the envelope with toys. I remember there used to be, this was so amazing and I wanted it so badly. I know this is a movie podcast, but let me just talk about this for a second.
Okay.
There was this toy that you could get. It was so fucking cool. It was a necklace, right? It was like this big, heart-shaped kind of like a little vase of a necklace. And it had these little water beads in it. And you planted a plant in it and it grew. And you wore it around your neck. How fucking cool is that? They don't make that shit anymore. Nowadays, all they make is really cheap, flimsy plastic. The plastic in the Barbie dolls, the Barbie dolls in the 90s were so beautifully made, and now they're just trash.
Well, is it because of
I think it's not Mattel. The Disney ones are not Mattel anymore.
Well, I was going to say, is it more of an environmental thing with cutting down on plastic?
No, I think it's a cost thing. I think it's just you used to have these awesome toys where you could make slime that was edible and make bugs and things like that.
Dr. Brain, is that what it was?
Yeah, that sort of
something
stuff.
Like that, I can't know what it's called, but yeah.
And I never had it, but I really wanted it.
Allowed to.
But
I don't know any kid who was allowed to.
The quality of toys doesn't break apart. Whereas, Zoe, when she goes over to my mum and dad's house, she plays with a lot of my toys, Sky Dancers and stuff.
Yeah.
The Sky Dance, they've reissued Sky Dancers. They're nowhere near as good quality. And just I don't know, I always just feel the toys in the 90s were just works of art. The way they were painted and just, they were just awesome. So when I think of the 90s, I think of the toys and the quality of the toys. Even Happy Meal toys.
Yeah.
Happy Meal toys were great. I remember I had Hunchback of Notre Dame and Pocahontas finger puppets.
Yeah.
They were brilliant.
I feel and I don't know whether it's not a fever dream because it definitely happened, but But I don't know. I thought it was a Happy Meal toy, but the more I think about it, the less it seems like it was possible. I feel like there was an era of Happy Meal toy where you got like a plush Disney figure,
Yeah.
and it was like a Mickey Mouse or a Goofy or whatever, and they were in a marching band outfit.
Yes! Oh my god, I had those!
And the cassette tape.
Oh my god, I had those!
Okay, so it was a Happy Meal toy.
Oh my god, I completely erased that from my memory until you just said it.
Yeah.
I had those.
We had.
Weren't they Christmas themed as well?
Oh, I don't know, but it came with a cassette tape. Is that right? And then there's the Disney songs on it. So like, I think the one that we got was like "Be Our Guest" and like "Zippity Doodah" or something.
Oh my god, that just completely unlocked a memory.
Yeah.
That I hadn't realized.
I think about that Goofy figure so often.
Yeah.
Okay, so it was McDonald's. Okay.
No, it wasn't a fake food.
Okay, no, I knew it was a real thing. But there's no way McDonald's would issue something like that. That's too upmarket.
No, they were brilliant. Do you remember? I don't think this wasn't Macca's.
They also did the cool mix and match Snoopy toys. I don't know if you remember those.
Yes, I
They
do
were
remember
very
those.
cool,
I do
yeah.
remember those. Do you? But you obviously remember this because we've had conversations about these.
Mm.
But the cups, the big
The
mugs that
molded-
were like the molded plastic heads of like.
The Warner Brothers characters?
Yes.
Yeah. I had a bunch of them,
We had
yeah.
so many of those.
Well, that was the era of the Warner Brothers store and
Yeah.
the Disney store, which dried up. Must have been like I think they were gone by the time I was in high school. And
Yeah.
I started high school in 2001. So I feel like by the time I was in high school, they were gone.
I remember when there was a Warner Brothers store in Knox,
Mm.
and I used to go to it all the time, and it closed by the time I was in year 8.
Yeah, I think because there was one at High Point, and I think it was gone before I finished primary school.
Yeah.
And that was a very cool store to go to. Because I loved all the Warner Brothers cartoon characters. So I loved like Bugs and Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah,
and stuff.
exactly.
And
Sylvester.
Pepe Le Pew, who's since been cancelled. So toys is obviously a big thing. I also think of video games in the 90s. Like
See, I didn't play video games. I played computer games.
I'm just putting in
I
my
know, but I'm just saying. I'm just contributing.
we did the Super Nintendo came out in the 90s, and so actually Super Nintendo might have been 80s, I'm not sure. But I got it in the 90s. No, it was definitely the 90s when it came out. And then Nintendo 64 as well. So I was a big video game family, but I discovered video games through the video store, which is something we've talked about a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
Is the video store and VHS cassettes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it all ties in. But the toys were fantastic.
Yeah.
So many great, cool toys.
And
I don't know, I haven't watched... Well, I guess we do watch morning TV. We do watch kids' TV a little bit with Zoe now.
Yeah.
But I feel like when I was a kid, there was like Cheese TV.
Yeah, Cheese TV was brilliant. Cheese TV was awesome.
Which was basically like a talk show for kids, but then like it would then like in between the talk show they would just show cartoons. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And you'd have all the toy commercials and stuff like that. I thought that doesn't really exist anymore.
No, you have a whole channel now. Because you have ABC.
Yeah.
And so you have ABC for kids and then you have ABC Me.
But those don't have the cartoons that we were watching.
They will have
the more educational.
But they will have cartoons throughout the whole day. And then they have BTN behind the news, but nobody watches that. But Channel 10 won't have kids programs like Cheese. But the other versions of Channel 10, like 10 Shake, for example, has what a stupid name for a channel. 10 Shake. Has kids cartoons in the morning, but it's just cartoons. It's not like it's cartoons as part of a bigger program. Yeah. Like Cheese TV was cartoons as part of a bigger program.
Yeah, or like if you want to get even older, like Agro's Cartoon Connection.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
But do they do like?
That doesn't exist anymore.
No, no, Agro. No, that.
No, but that whole concept.
Yeah.
Doesn't exist anymore.
But do they do because the ABC cartoons are obviously like they're more geared towards younger children.
It depends on that. ABC for kids is what we watch because Zoe's 2.5. But ABC Me is geared towards 10-year-olds and stuff.
But do they do stuff like? I'm trying to think of like the cartoons that we watched as kids. Like, there's a lot of anime where we were growing up. There's a lot of like Pokemon and Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. But do they? Yeah. Are there more like action cartoons? Like another one was Batman, the animated series that was big in the 90s. Do they do?
I think so. I don't watch a lot
or?
of it because it's not my demographic or Zoe's demographic.
No, but I just wondered
I think
if
they do. But I know they do a lot of live action shows like Nowhere Boys and stuff like that.
Again, that's all ABC. Like
yeah.
I'm thinking like the ABC, at the risk of sounding judgmental, like as a kid, like ABC was kind of for boffins, and like turns out had the edge.
I'm sorry. We didn't have Foxtel like you.
I wasn't watching Foxtel. I was watching Channel 10.
We didn't watch Nickelodeon like you.
But all the Nickelodeon cartoons were on ABC, so it wasn't just for boffins.
I only had ABC. Yeah. That's all. I had like 6 channels.
But Cheese TV, and like we're getting like
and I hated Pokemon and I hated Dragon Ball.
I'm not saying those cartoons specifically. But I'm just saying, like, do they have like the equivalent of that now? Like those kind of like more grown-up cartoons. Like
I don't know. Is your answer?
Cool. Well, you didn't say that. You just
yes, I did. I said I don't know.
Alrighty.
Because I don't watch ABC.
Well, that's it for this week's episode of the podcast.
James and I are just gonna tune off so we can have an argument about this.
No worries at all. Okay, fair enough. I'm sure in 6 years' time I'll find out the answer when Zoe's old enough to watch it. All those sorts of things. Although she does watch some of the cartoons that I watched growing up. Like I've been getting her into DuckTales, which she seems to like.
Yeah, she does like DuckTales.
I think just for the theme song, really.
Yeah. I mean it's the best theme song.
It is the best theme song. Fantastic. Is there anything else? Kind of like when we did the 80s, we kind of went into like what the 80s meant, I suppose, philosophically. We don't have to have a philosophical debate or anything like that. But is there anything else about the 90s you particularly remember, or?
Yeah, well, I remember a lot because we experienced it, experienced so much of it, basically. So, yeah, no, I remember it heaps. I remember, like, I mean, obviously, the fashion is back. It's been sticking around for a while, which is really annoying. Can I just say, I said this to you today, but I'm going to say it on the podcast. Why on earth are cargo pants back? Why?
They're so functional.
You're not a fish. Like, I wore cargo pants, and I should not have worn cargo pants. And they're not good unless you're going fishing or hiking and you need somewhere to keep your scroggin'. Then I'm sorry, you don't need to wear cargo pants.
They're so functional.
They're so shit. And so I remember the fashion was obviously a big one. Music was huge. Music videos were huge because you had like video hits and Rage was, how you spend your Saturday morning basically.
And I feel like the 90s was really the defining year of the boy band.
Yeah, absolutely.
And even the girl bands, but boy band is, I guess, a more popular term. But you get Spice Girls, you get Backstreet Boys, you get Five.
Exactly.
NSYNC. Is NSYNC 90s?
Yeah, NSYNC is 90s. Westlife, Boyz II Men, things like that. Bewitched. Oh my God, Bewitched.
S Club 7.
Oh, I hate S Club 7.
That's why I brought them up. Because there ain't no party like S Club party.
Just trying to bug me, aren't you? So yeah, I feel like music was a huge.
Hanson.
Oh, I fucking hate Hanson.
I know, I just keep remembering bad names.
I'm trying to say a sentence here. I think music was a really huge part. Yeah. Thanks for interrupting me.
Sorry.
I can't really tell you much about like political stuff or news or anything. I remember tiny little bits and pieces about what was happening in the world, and I know now more from context, but don't really remember so much at the time. I remember 1997 was a huge year because that was when Diana died, and then Mother Teresa died. Or was it Mother Teresa first? I can't remember.
I could not tell you.
So I remember 1997 being a big year.
Also Titanic, 1997.
There you go. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, look, I didn't really into the political side of things. We don't really do that, but I was just wondering if there's anything else. But you're right, the music we didn't really touch on, and it was huge. Like, yeah, I don't remember like going to the movies a lot in the 90s. I think.
No, I don't remember.
Like
until the later 90s.
Yeah, like I would have gone to see a couple of Disney flicks. We would have seen. I think I saw Lion King in cinemas. And
I think that was my first movie in cinemas.
Me too. I think it was my first one as well. I remember seeing Muppets Treasure Island in cinemas.
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to think what else I saw in cinemas. Like there weren't a lot of movie going experiences in the 90s. We saw a James Bond film in the 90s.
Oh, okay. We watched it on TV. The one with Pierce Brosnan?
Yeah.
The one where he's in Chinatown and he has the keyboard and tries to type on it but can't because it's all characters. That's the only clip I remember of that movie.
I haven't seen that one. That might be Tomorrow never dies. The world
I don't know.
yeah, GoldenEye maybe.
Oh, I don't think it's Goldeneye.
I haven't seen GoldenEye, so people are going to be losing their minds. They're like,
Yeah.
what? You haven't seen GoldenEye? How can you do a 90s? It's fine, guys. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'll get there. Yeah, there weren't a terrible amount of cinema trips until like the 2000s. Once I was a teenager, that's when I was like, yeah, we're going to go to the mall and go to the movies.
Yeah,
and I was really trying to fit into like that kind of American teen setup. So we were very much video store family up until then.
We were not a video store family at all.
Yeah.
So we would go once in a blue moon. We definitely weren't an every
Which
weekend.
is so funny because yours was in walking distance.
Yeah.
Like if that was me, I'd have been like, all right, I'll see you guys in 15. Like,
yeah.
15 hours, so I'm going to be looking at the videos all day.
I didn't regularly go to the video store until I was like probably between 16 and 18.
Yeah.
And I was using George's Blockbuster card.
Yeah, I remember saying.
But yeah, I think we went to the video store maybe once a month, once every 2 months. Like we had a small collection of VHS tapes at home. And every once in a while, I think Baba would go to Blockbuster and he would go through like the bin that sells all the old ones and he'd pick up a couple. That's how we got Brain Owners. Yeah. But we mainly taped our movies off TV.
We did a lot of that as well.
We did a lot of that, which was really annoying because we only had so many VHS tapes.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to tape something, a lot of the time you had to tape over something else that you had and you'd be weighing up the options. You're like, do I really need like this movie? Okay. I remember I had a Harry Potter VHS tape, and this VHS tape was all the clips and interviews and little bits and pieces like trailers that I had videotaped off TV that was taped onto this Harry Potter VHS tape. And so you'd play it, you'd watch it. This was before the movie came out. So you play it and you watch it and you go, you're watching this interview and then the interview finishes and then there's like, 20 seconds of what was underneath the tape recording. So it might
Mum
have
and
been
Dad's
like,
wedding.
Yeah. And then like the trailer for Harry Potter plays and then there's something like else that's underneath it. And then like, an ad for Harry Potter plays or something like that. Or interviews with about the news talking about this Harry Potter craze. And I just like held on to that tape for dear life.
Isn't it crazy how like recording stuff off the television was not an illegal practice for the VHS era?
Yeah.
But as soon as like DVD burning came out, they're like, nope.
Yeah.
No, can't do that.
The thing that really pissed me off was you had to have your videotape player set to the same channel.
Yeah.
And so if you didn't, and you're recording.
You're not recording
recording the right channel. And so one time I was recording this Harry Potter interview and it was like Dan Radcliffe was talking. I was like, oh my God, yes, this is amazing. And then it was like on Channel 7 or something. I looked down at the VHS player and it's recording Channel 9 and I like screamed. And Mum came running downstairs. She's like, what's wrong? I go, I'm recording the wrong channel. And she got so angry at me because she thought like I'd hurt myself or something. And she's like, Tina, why are you screaming like that? I was like, oh,
Daniel Radcliffe. That is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But that's crazy. Like that you could just record whatever you wanted. And then, but like now it's like, and I don't endorse pirates. I'm like, yeah, like just pirate or whatever. But I'm like, it is weird that like literally they sold equipment for you to do it. Like, this is a VHS recorder. You can record whatever you want off the television. You can save it for your house. Very different time. Very different time. Same with cassettes. Like you'd record off the radio and stuff like that.
I do that all the time.
Oh, I made a mixtape or two of my time.
Oh yeah, same.
Like there are probably people listening to this are like, mixtape? What are you talking about? Like, oh, like when a DJ does a mixtape? No. Like I mean, like when you stay there listening to like the Hot 30 countdown, like on Saturday night, like with and like every time the song you want comes on, you have to hit record and play at the same time quickly.
And they always, because they do that thing where like they stop talking the second the lyrics start.
Yeah.
The song will have started. And they're like, you're listening to Kiss, it's not Kiss FM, it's 101.1.
Yeah.
The Fox. And then the song starts. And you're like, so every time you'd listen to it, you hear the radio DJ's voice and then it would bug me.
Yeah.
So much.
It was a different time, guys.
Yeah.
There'll be listeners who have done that, but most of it, I think most of my listeners will be like, what are you talking about?
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Well, I've got a friend who she was on the episode a few weeks ago, and she's coming back. She's meant to record tomorrow. That's what's going ahead now. She was born in 2002.
That's when Chamber of Secrets came
Yeah,
out.
I was talking to her. I'm like, so we'll talk about your favorite '90s movies this week, and she's like, we can. I just have to think about it. I'm like, oh, is the '90s relevant to you? Like, because their
You're
that's
not
history.
from them?
And she's like, no, I can figure it out. Well, like, we'll just think else. It's okay. But I'm
Yeah.
like, I should be mindful of my references because she's so young. But that's really funny.
I'm sorry. I still cannot believe you remember those Mickey Mouse plush toys.
Yeah,
Like my brain is
yeah.
exploding about those.
We should jump into some lists.
Yep.
So we're going to do our top 5 favorite '90s films.
Mm-hmm.
This I found to be remarkably easy. I didn't think.
Yeah, I found this easy too.
I didn't think it would be, and I went back and forth on a couple a little bit, but there weren't too many. People might be surprised to hear there's no Kevin Smith films on my list, but I would argue I've already talked about Clerks and Dogma, and those are the ones from the '90s I really care about. So.
Yeah, I've tried to make sure that my list doesn't. I think there might be like one movie that I've mentioned before, but I really was like, well, I'm not putting in Amelie, I'm not putting in Pocahontas because everybody knows.
I think Amelie's 2001.
No, Amelie's not. Oh yeah, you're right. Sorry, I keep thinking it's 1997 because it's set in 1997. You don't have to check it; it's fine.
I'm not checking it.
But I'm not putting in Pocahontas because, like, we all know, like, I love Pocahontas. I've spoken to you about it before. So I tried to put in movies that I love but I haven't mentioned before. That being said, I re-looked at my list. I think I might have mentioned all of these but one.
That's okay. That's fine.
So who knows? I can't remember.
Well, let's jump into it. Start with your number 5. Kick down the doors.
Yep. Well, my number 5 is just one of the best movies. It really holds up. It's so good. So I recently watched it with some of my friends. Yeah, you know what it is. And Maddie, who's been on the podcast, she was like, "Oh, I don't know if the movie's going to hold up." I'm like, "No, trust me, it does."
If it's what I'm thinking of, we watched it during the pandemic,
yeah,
and I was quoting almost every line to you. It had been 20 years since I'd watched it.
It's so brilliant. It's Spice World.
Love Spice World.
It is so good. If there is a movie that epitomizes the 90s, it is a movie about one of the biggest girl bands in the world from the 90s.
Yes.
Just like brilliant. It's really the movie that made me like just explode with Cool Britannia.
Yeah.
Because it was in the peak of Cool Britannia.
Yeah.
And it was really watching that movie and watching another movie that's on my list that made me just go, oh my God, I want to live in the UK. Like, isn't it so cool? They have red phone boxes and the Union Jacks all over everything, including the Spice Girls bus. And it was just like, it's just a funny movie. It's funny because it doesn't take itself seriously. It knows it's supposed to be like a crap, not very expensive, funny romp.
So, like, it's got a terrible rating online. Like on IMDb,
people don't understand it.
Well, here's the thing: like on IMDb, it's like a 3.1 or something. And when I went before we watched it, like a couple of years ago, I was like, "Oh, like it might not hold up, but it'll be okay." There are movies from the '90s that I love that I can acknowledge are not great movies. Like Super Mario Brothers, I was actually rewatching last night. I love it, but I can acknowledge that it's not a great film. Batman and Robin, I love, but I can acknowledge not a great film. We watched Spice World. I was laughing the entire way through.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Like, it hasn't aged poorly. Like, it's great. So, like, it's really, really funny and silly.
Great.
And, like, it's very camp.
It is.
And it has a very, Python-esque feels like the wrong phrase.
No, that's right. Because it's very, like, wordplay jokes kind of thing like that. The jokes are very sort of like they're visual gags. They're not necessarily slapstick. There is a little bit of slapstick, but they're like visual gags or they're like verbal jokes, and it's just like it's just so well written.
It's great. It's so fun. Like they all do a really good job.
Yeah, they do all do a really good job.
It's
like all of them are funny, and they all play into their stereotype fantastically. So like Posh Spice does her great, like she's hilarious. She's the unsung hero of this film because Posh Spice is always kind of like left to the sideline. She's always a bit more quiet and everything. And you know, Victoria Beckham's really sort of like cultivated a life for herself now where she's very quiet and she just works really hard in the background. But like in this movie, she's just fantastic. She's like, she really shines.
They're all good, but as I said, very quotable. Like when we were watching, like literally, I was like, "Oh, this is a little Gucci dress bit.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the alien invasion bit.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the bit where it's like, I've seen your videos.
Yeah.
Like
this is the bit where they dress up as each other and do the photo shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, I spy with my little eye.
Yeah.
Something with H. Hospital. Shut up, Jerry. Like, and again, like I haven't watched it since the lockdown. Like I watched it like 3 years ago. I haven't seen that. I just remember everything.
Yeah.
Great list of cameos. You've got Meatloaf as the bus driver. You got Elton
Wonderful cameos. Like there are big names in this movie. Huge.
The whole Italian like dance.
Oh my god, I love it. To Gary Glitter.
Yeah.
That is so good. When it came, I'd forgotten. Well, yeah, no, I think I had forgotten about it. And so when I was watching it over at Maddie's house, and they land in Italy and they've got all the dancers there and they're all topless, I was just pissing myself laughing because I remembered what came next.
The purple outfits.
With the purple outfits and the butt cheeks.
Yeah.
This was definitely a movie that I borrowed from the video store.
Yeah.
And would have borrowed multiple times and begged my parents each time. I think I saw it in cinemas. I would have. I was a huge Spice Girls fan.
Mm-hmm.
Massive Spice Girls fan.
So was I. Like, it was one of the things. It was. I keep using the phrase "different time," and like it's going to sound like old man James will be like, "Oh, it was just so different," but like Spice Girls transcended like cliques and gender, and it was just like a phenomenon.
Yes, that's right.
Everyone loves Spice Girls.
Everyone loves Spice Girls.
Like, and like I've got Spice Girls on my iPhone today.
Yeah,
like I mean, like it's still there. Like it's just such a integral part of my DNA from that time.
I've been playing it for Zoe, and she's really been enjoying it. She likes all the Spice Girls songs.
But
and I really love just all the feminist messages in the movie.
Very feminist movie.
Really feminist movie. Real like girl power, like that. It was really their message about girl power and stuff like that. And I remember like Mum really enjoyed it as well because there was that one scene where Nicola gives birth and she goes and Jerry goes, that's really girl power. And Mum goes, yes it is. That's absolutely girl power.
Yeah. Richard E. Grant, isn't it?
Yeah, Richard E. Grant.
He's really good. Like it's just so much fun. Like it really is.
Who's Humphrey, the one who does Dame Edna?
Oh, Barry
Humphries. Yeah, he's in it. He plays the mogul. He plays the media mogul who wants to destroy Spice Girls.
Yeah. Now I remember again during lockdown, after we watched Spice World, I was like, oh, if you like Spice World, we have to watch the American version of Spice World, which is Jason and the Pussycats. And I still love Jason and the Pussycats, but I remember you watched that and you're like, how dare you compare that to Spice World? That is not Spice World. Like, that is dumb and garbage.
Yeah.
I would say, like, I'm a lot more forgiving of Jason and the Pussycats than you are, but it's in the same vein. Like, but
it's in the same vein. I can't remember why I didn't like it.
I know why. Because
did I find it boring?
No, like some of the jokes were like really silly. Like towards the end, like it turns out like the girl was going bald and had like a lisp, and like the guy was actually overweight. Stuff like you didn't like all the weird stuff, which is fair enough. Like it is an unusual film, but but you know what? It's on a 90s film, so we don't need to go on about it.
Yeah,
but Spice World is great.
Spice World is fantastic.
A great soundtrack. I mean,
of course, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Like, I could do a whole episode just on Spice World.
I know, right? Yeah.
Do you have anything else to say about Spice World before we move on to my first?
No, other than all the haters, all the people out there who are like, don't understand the comedy of it. You're not seeing it for what it is.
Yeah,
it's just supposed to be fun, silly fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
Yeah.
The girls never take themselves seriously. It's just supposed to be something that's fun. So those people who are only giving it 3 stars are losers.
But if you don't get it, you don't get it. Like but it's if you do get it, Oh my god, like what a great time.
Yeah.
All right, well, my number 5 is I would say the first movie that really got me into science fiction. I'm not the world's biggest sci-fi guy. Like, I like Star
Yeah.
Wars and stuff, but not the way people love Star Wars. I'm a lot more casual about it. But this film really got me into science fiction. It was the first PG film I think I asked my parents to let me watch,
Okay.
and my dad was like, "Oh, I'll have to watch it first to make sure it's okay," because
Yeah.
I don't think he did though. Um, it has aliens. It's got I was going to give away the title in the description. It's a government agents. It has a tiny gun called a noisy cricket, and it's Men in Black.
Yeah, yeah.
And it has a killer theme song.
Yeah.
I love Men in Black. I think the flick holds up insanely well, even after almost 30 years now. I've enjoyed all the Men in Black films. 2 is a bit strange. 3, I've only seen the one time, and International I've only seen the one time as well. But that first movie is perfect to me.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Like you got a young Will Smith who's I think he may be coming with Independence Day. I think Independence Day came before Men in Black, if I remember correctly. You got him. You got Tommy Lee Jones, Rip Torn as Zed, Vincent D'Onofrio as Edgar, who I quote all the time.
Sugar and water.
Whoa. I saw an interview on Instagram just recently, and the guy was interviewing Vincent D'Onofrio for Daredevil, and he was like, "Can you give us some Edgar?" And he like was rocking the Edgar voice like 30 years later. It's just so much fun.
Yeah, it really is.
But it's again like it's one of those ones I just remember all the quotes, like when he's going through the initiation and like everyone's trying to write in the egg chest and just drags the table over. It's like and like Will Smith's got like this young attitude where he's like the best of the best of the best. So this guy has no idea what we're doing here. Or like when he shoots the little girl in the firing range. He's like, that guy's not snarling, he's sneezing.
He's sneezing. He is snarling.
8-year-old girl, chemistry textbooks, something's not right. Like the word, I guess the only thing about it that doesn't really hold up to some of the CGI. But
I was actually going to okay, it's been a while since I've seen it, but from my memory,
Edgar at the end is a bit cartoony.
Oh yeah, that's a bit different. But all of like the alien stuff inside.
Well, there's so much puppetry.
Yeah.
So much puppetry. Like the worms are better in the first movie than the second movie. In the first movie, they're kind of like Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
In the second movie, they're very like overly sexualized and stuff.
Yeah.
They're like hitting on Rosario Dawson and stuff. You got that great opening scene where it's like on the border of Mexico and like it looks like they're trying to like sneak into the country illegally as illegal aliens, but it's actual aliens sneaking in. David Cross is the mortician, the guy who like I always think about like the old man, like the little alien inside the heads. Congratulations to Squids. Like I'm just quoting the film now.
It's just fantastic. I remember the first time I watched it, I was so like, oh, what a great twist when it was Orion's belt.
Yeah.
It was on the cat's collar, and it was the star on the cat's collar. I was like, oh my God, that's so smart. That's so clever. And like I remember that sort of being the first time I was really like surprised at where a story had gone. I mean, like now, obviously, because you've seen it, you know where it's going. But like I remember specifically, and I've thought about this since then as well. I've remembered specifically going, oh wow, like I wasn't expecting that, and experiencing that unknown element of storytelling so vividly. Because like I think in like movies that I'd seen before that, because they're like kids movies, you kind of know what's going to happen and you kind of know the formula. But because this was a movie that was so different from anything else, like so different from anything you've ever seen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nothing was like Men in Black when it first came out. And so you're watching this and it's like, this is completely different from anything that I've seen. I have no idea where they're going for this, and I'm with this, and I'm just along for the ride. And so it really like was surprising with that little twist. I was like, that's so clever.
Yeah. And then of course, is it the it like zooms out at Earth and the galaxy as a marble.
Yeah.
And the alien picks up all the marbles.
Yeah, that's right.
That's great. I completely forgot to mention Frank the Pug.
Frank.
As a kid, I was like, a doggy dog.
Yeah.
And Jeeves, Tony Shalhoub plays Jeeves, whose head keeps him blown off and growing back.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
it's just like it's just fun. It's just
Yeah,
fun, like
it's really fun.
and fun in a way that I don't see a lot of films made like that anymore. Like, and not to say that there aren't fun movies, but like it's a film that like has serious moments and like it does kind of the action is done well and like the whole
Mm,
like mystery and I guess the science fiction mystery and investigation is done well, but then also just has these really silly moments. And there's I think one of the reasons why the other whilst I like all of the films, they can't quite hold up to the original is it's just so quintessentially 90s. It's such
yeah,
a 90s film.
yeah,
Um, like the rest of them kind of like rely on the I guess like the gimmicks of their era
yeah.
and stuff like that.
But you know what I also think is really important and what makes the movie so good is that it also has that Harry Potter element of a hidden world within
Mm,
our real world. So, like, we as humans don't realize that there's actually this whole underworld of aliens that are living on our planet, just like how there's this whole underworld of wizards living on
mm,
our in our cities. Um, so I think that really sort of plays into it. You go, it's not just a case of, oh, it's an alien movie that's set on a different planet or aliens are coming to invade or
no, they're
something.
already
It's
here.
aliens that exist with already on our planet and have existed for a while
Yeah.
because they are just like immigrants, just
Mm,
like how you might emigrate to another country.
mm,
Like they've immigrated to our planet sort of thing. And I think it's so funny how you just have like these family of aliens
mm.
just like living in the back room of a building or something.
There's also Tommy Lee Jones has a line that I like. I remember hearing when I first saw the film. I was like, "Oh, that's an interesting thought." And as an adult, it resonates with me so much. And it's a bit of a cynical line, but where Will Smith, Agent J, is like, "Why don't you just tell people? People are smart." And then Agent K goes, "No, a person is smart.
Hmm.
People are dumb." And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I get it
Yeah,
now."
yeah,
Like, I wish I
yeah.
wasn't so cynical like him, but I do get it. But I get it.
Yeah.
Like if I learned anything from COVID, it's that like
A
Kay was
person is smart,
absolutely
yeah.
right.
But people are dumb.
So number 5 for me is Men in Black. I love that film even to this day.
Lovely.
Number 4 for
All
you.
right, number four. So number four is a movie that I just I love it so much. I'm gonna say that to every single
Yeah,
one
they're
of
in your
these
top 5.
films. In my top five. It's so good. I think I've only seen it like maybe three times in. Oh no, maybe a couple more times in full. But it's a movie that the media teacher at my school will often play to his class for like a unit that he does.
Mm,
And because I teach photography on the other side and there's like glass windows, I can watch it
mm.
like while I'm teaching my photography class. And I'm like, oh, he's putting it on again. I get to watch it again. It's Speed.
Of
Speed
course.
is so fucking good. Oh my god. So I first got introduced to Speed in the 2000s.
Mm,
So it probably would have played on TV when I was a kid in the 90s, but I would have seen like the first little bit of it and then been like, whatever, disinterested. And then it definitely would have played after 8:30, which is my bedtime, or was
yeah,
my bedtime.
mine too. I think mine was 8 o'clock for a while.
So mine was 8:30.
Lucky.
And so that was always 8:30 was always when the movie started
Mhm.
on TV. There were always at least M movies.
Mhm.
So mum would be like, right, Tina, off to bed. So if I was lucky to watch the first 10 minutes of it, and I would have been disinterested anyway, so I would have gone upstairs. So I didn't get introduced to Speed until the 90s when I fell in love with Keanu Reeves.
Mhm.
And so I had gone through Keanu Reeves' IMDb page, printed it off because that's what you did back then.
Yeah, I
You
did
didn't
that
have it on
many
your
a time.
phone.
Oh yeah.
And I would like memorize all of his like recent films and stuff like that and the order that they got released in and everything. And I would try and watch as many of them as I could. Hence why I bought The Giver on VHS, watched the first 30 minutes of it, never watched it
You mean
again.
The Gift?
The Gift, sorry. Not
We
The
have it
Giver,
on
The
Blu-ray
Gift.
if you'd like to give
No,
it a go.
no, never again. I'm never doing that movie again.
Like
and then,
that, and like there are a few films from that era that like I don't even know if I've seen them the whole way through, but like especially terrifying. Like The Gift, Stigmata, Stir of
Yeah.
Echoes, all
Yeah,
like just
no,
terrifying.
no.
And probably like by modern
Have
standards
you
not
seen The Gift?
oh, I loved it.
Did you find it scary?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
When Katie Holmes was in that tree,
Yeah.
that's when I first turned it off.
That is the scariest part of the film.
I don't care. I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah.
I'm scared. We're in our bedroom and I'm scared.
Yeah, what's that tree over there?
Shut up. So I was like, oh, what's this movie? Speed. Okay, well, I'll watch that. I must have borrowed it off Blockbuster. So maybe I wasn't 16. Maybe I was like maybe 14.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have walked to Blockbuster, borrowed George's Blockbuster card, and hired Speed. And oh my God, it's just great. It is, I personally think it is the best action movie ever.
Interesting, because without giving the game away too much, there's another Keanu Reeves film in the 90s that I would argue is a better action film.
Point Break?
Nope.
Oh, The Matrix?
Yes.
I wouldn't consider that to be action.
There's a lot of kung fu in that film.
There is a lot of kung fu, but it's not action the same way Speed is action.
Sure.
Right, Speed is like adrenaline action. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? There's a difference. It's like, for instance, I love Argo, and you could argue. You could argue that Argo.
Oh, that's my clip. That's my clip for the episode.
Yeah. Like, I love Argo, but you could argue that Argo is an action movie, but it's also not an action movie because even though it has really high moments of tension, and even though it's like has moments where it's like go, 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 it's not adrenaline action like Speed is. Speed is really like it's literally the whole movie is like a car chase.
Yeah.
You know?
The bus that couldn't slow down.
The bus that couldn't slow down. And so like all of Keanu Reeves' lines are brilliant in the movie. Keanu Reeves himself is like so good looking. Like him with his shaved head, but it's not shaved like Matrix shaved with.
It's like crew cut.
It's like crew cut.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like I'm not a huge fan of Keanu Reeves with his long hair that he has now. I liked him with the short hair.
This is the John Wick era?
Yeah, this is the John Wick era. And I'm just kind of like, okay, you do what you want. You're old enough to do what you want. But I did not like him with his Point Break hair, that floppy 90s sideways flop. I don't like that.
Well, that's kind of like on the way. That's a transition from Bill and Ted to Neo, I think.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Because Neo, I think, is prime Keanu Reeves.
Yeah. But like Keanu Reeves with his crew cut and he's chewing his gum and he's got his like bulletproof vest on. I'm just like, yes. He's ticking all the boxes. He just is brilliant. And his attitude in the movie is perfect. Like he plays that character so well. And like when you see him play like a Bill and Ted type character or a Matrix type character, it's so different. But like this is just like it just fits the character so perfectly. And so I love like all the there's a what are the kind of people who set off bombs? What are they called?
Terrorists?
Yeah, terrorists, like a bomber. A bomber.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, a bomber. You know, there's like a bomber in the building and all that sort of stuff like that. And like all of the bus stuff is really good. And the part where he's like in the car and the bus is driving and like hasn't gotten onto the bus yet and he's in the car and it's like, you need to slow down, you need to pull over and everything. And the bus driver's like, what? It's like, there's a bomb on the bus. And he's like, bus driver's like, ah! Oh, it's so good. It's just so good. And then like all the Sandra Bullock stuff, yeah, sure, you know, like she's a bit too whaly for me in
it's
the
before
movie.
She was Sandra Bullock.
Yeah.
Like, I think, like, Miss Congeniality forward, you really get, like, the Sandra Bullock that we all know. Like, this is one of her earlier roles. See?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's just, like, there's a point in the movie where she's screaming so often, it's really pitchy in your ears. And
like the end of Texas Chainsaw Massacre?
Yeah, you know, it's just a bit like, oh, you can try a different octave of screaming. Yeah. That would be good. But yeah, and then like, you know, they get under the bus, like they get all the people off the bus because they're doing the loop of the recording. And oh, it's just like, it's just so good. It's just so good. And then the whole end bit as well. Like, what's the line? I can't remember. I'm going to fuck it up now. it's been a long time since I've actually seen
Pop
the
quiz,
whole
hot shot.
Yeah, pop quiz, and it's like how many I don't know, like men does it take to change a light? It's not that,
Yeah.
but it's like pop quiz, hot shot, so good, such a good movie, and so my number 4 is Speed.
Nice one.
I really want to watch it now.
I've only seen it once. You showed it to me, and I
Yeah.
remember at the end of it, I was like, okay.
Oh yeah, I would have been like, "It's so good, you gotta watch it." You'd be like, "All right, I'll watch it," and then I'm sitting there. It would have been like
would have been-
when Nelson's watching the orchestra guy, the musician play. It's like, oh, and they're clapping at the end, and everybody else is just like,
No, I can tell you what it was like. It was when I turned to you after Josie and the Pussycats.
Oh yeah.
I was like, did you love it?
Yeah.
You're like, no.
Yeah.
That's
But
what
you like Speed. You were just kind of like, it's fine.
Yeah, I was. I think my response was, I think I was too late to this one.
Oh, okay.
But I haven't watched it in a while, and my opinion on movies has changed. I'm a lot more positive about them now, so I'll give it another go. I didn't even think of Speed, but that makes sense to be on your list.
Yeah.
So my number 4, as I said, I'm not going with a Kevin Smith film because I've already talked about Clerks and Dogma, so I went for the next best thing to Clerks. It's a little indie film about a record store. It stars Anthony LaPaglia. It's got Liv Tyler. It's got Renee Zellweger, and they're all in their early careers. And it's called Empire Records.
I've never seen Empire Records.
It is brilliant. I watched it last year again for the second or third time in the month of November, because in November I was like, I'm going to watch movies that make me happy for my birthday. And I was like, I wonder if Empire Records is because I remember it to be. Yes, it is.
Yeah?
It's so much fun. It's it's so 90s.
Yeah.
It's a group of teenagers doing what they want in a record store that's about to get shut down and converted into like a chain store because they can't make ends meet, and they're trying to like save the store. And like one of the guys who was trusted to close the store the night before ended up like taking all the money and gambling with it to try and raise the money to save the store. We end up losing it all. There's like a celebrity that's like making an appearance, and the girls will have a crush on him and like trying to hook up with him in the store and stuff. It's a day in the life movie, like with the exception of like the first 15 minutes, which is kind of like the guy taking the money to Atlantic City or whatever. The rest is all a day in the life of the movie. There's like a shoplifter and like all the stuff that like all the pranks they play on the shoplifters trying to stop them from escaping.
Yeah.
It's just really fun. Like it's just everything. If you ever wanted to work in a video store or a record store or anything like that, like this is what that movie is. It's like it's what you imagine it would be like.
Yeah.
There's not much more to it. Like I wish I could say like there's like thrilling like chases.
So like, would a modern version of it be like Superstore?
Honestly, I think like Clerks is a pretty good comparison. Clerks is like it's like PG Clerks, so it's nowhere near as vulgar. It's a lot more accessible than Clerks is. It's very like it's very fun and lighthearted. It doesn't get too dark. But it's just like a workplace comedy. Like that's what it is. But it's got a cool soundtrack because obviously, like,
it would have to.
Yeah.
So what kind of like songs are on the soundtrack?
Oh, like it's too cool for me. Like I couldn't tell you the songs. Like they're very like I don't have the list in front of me. Yeah, I mean, like I think there's probably like some No Doubt in there if I think about it. Like, but like it's a very 90s soundtrack as well. But yeah, it's like it explores that, and then like there's the lead guy, or like it's really an ensemble. There's not really like one main character, but like one of the main guys is in love with Liv Tyler's character, and like the whole time as I'm just trying to figure out like.
So does she work at the store?
Yeah, they all work at the store. Yeah. He's like trying to figure, and like she's on the poster, like she's like the main focus on the poster, but she's really just a small character in it. But I think because she's Steven Tyler's daughter, I think like we can use this musician's daughter as a way to like kind of promote our movie. I
always remember that poster because I'm
very
like, why
iconic
does she
poster.
stand like that?
Yeah, it's a very iconic.
I didn't realize that was Liv Tyler.
Yeah,
and that's Renee Zellweger.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, they do not look like themselves.
When I saw the poster, I thought it was Joey Lauren Adams. And the girl on the left with the shape, that's Robin Tunney, who was in I think Criminal Minds, one of those shows. Like if you saw a recent photo, you're like, oh yeah, I know who that is.
That looks so young.
I mean, it's 95.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like that's pre Armageddon Liv Tyler. Like, I think she's like 19 with it. Like she's very young.
That's crazy.
But and like it ends with like a huge musical number. Like there's like a band playing on the roof of the record store and stuff. Like
nice.
Into the credits. Look, I know it sounds like there's not much to talk about, but really, it's not the story that makes it a great film. It's the characters and just like seeing them all interact with each other and just the idea of like that kind of communal love of like that communal passion of like we just love music. Like, and I'm not like the world's biggest music lover. Like I don't do it. You know, I'm not. I was a teenage music snob. Like, but like it really like kind of struck a chord with me. I'm like, oh, it's just so fun. The idea of like working with your friends and just doing like it reminds me of when I worked in the video store with my friends. Like that's what it reminds me of. But it's really really fun, and that's all I've got to say about it.
Yeah,
really.
that sounds good.
A very quick review.
I have to check it out.
Why is Adobe trying to update while I'm doing a podcast?
Also, if people hear a snoring puppy, apologies.
He's bored of the show.
You
haven't mentioned it. Jesus Christ, I'm going to lose my mind. It's going to do it now.
He's just snoring as we're recording. So if you hear that.
Excellent. So Empire Records, definitely worth watching. Yeah, look, I think you dig it. Like, I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, nice.
Brings us down to number 3.
All right, so my number 3 is definitely a movie that we've watched together. And I reckon the first one's better than the second, even though I reckon the first one's better than the second. It's Wayne's World.
Oh, great movie.
Yes, great movie, fantastic movie. So I can't remember.
I always think it's an 80s film because it's set in the 80s.
It's set in the 80s, but it's not. So I remember we would have watched this on TV, and I would have been around 14 or so.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a very specific story. So I remember I was staying over at one of my auntie's house, and my auntie had like her 2 kids, and so the eldest would have been 4, and the youngest would have been like 2 or something. So very, very young kids. And I was staying over at her house. And we all went down to the video store together, and I found Wayne's World. And I was like, oh my God, can we please borrow it? Can we please borrow it? Can we please watch it? And they were like, we're not sure. It might be a little bit too old. And I was like, no, please. It's going to be so great. It's going to be so great. And so they're like, oh, okay. So they borrowed it. But in my like rush to see it on the shelves, I accidentally grabbed number 2 instead of number 1. And so we're watching number 2, and I'm sitting there and I'm watching it, and I'm just like, this isn't what happens in the movie. This isn't what happens. And there's this one point in the film. So it's literally like me, my aunt, my uncle, and like their 2 kids who are much younger than me.
Yeah.
And there's the one point in Wayne's World 2 where like they're at the concert and the girl's sitting on Garth's shoulders, and then she takes her like top off and throws it. But you don't see the girl taking her top off. You just see her knees.
Yeah.
And you see the top like fall down. And I was in that really weird, awkward, you're 14, you're watching something like sexually inappropriate in front of, family members and stuff like that. And I remember just like turning to them all and saying, those are her knees, not her boobs. And I was like, it was so awkward. So I just remember that story, and every time I think of Wayne's World, I always think of that story, even though it was about Wayne's World too.
The only thing I remember from 2, because 2, I mean, there's a couple of things, because 2 isn't as good as 1.
Yeah.
There's the weird fight scene with James Hong, Cassandra's dad.
Yeah.
Which is all done in the Asian dub, and then always just the repeated joke of we had to beat him to death with their own shoes.
Yeah.
Like, to be fair, that joke lands every single time.
Yeah.
But 1 is genius.
1 is brilliant. So we would have watched it from TV, and because Mum is a big Mike Myers fan, she would have let us watch it.
Is she a Mike Myers fan because of Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she just generally finds him funny as well. That was before he did The Guru. Nobody likes The Guru.
Yeah, I remember we saw The Guru.
Yeah, it was not good.
I remember I remember one specific joke which I can't repeat on this because it's so vulgar.
Mm.
It's never listed anywhere. I'm like, did I imagine it? Like, there's a joke in it, and I'll tell you what it is off mic. But I was like, it's never listed anywhere in the parents' guide on IMDb. I'm like, it's pretty like obscene.
Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't done as. I mean, I'm sure he's doing stuff. Just nothing kind of as iconic as Wayne's World or Austin Powers. I remember a couple of years ago, he and Dana Carvey reunited, did Wayne and Garth. Was it the Oscars, I think?
Yeah, I think so.
Either that or
Sorry,
yeah,
we
no,
got to
Loki's
Luke because he's just gonna like make so much noise.
and he's leaning on the computer. He's
Yeah.
gonna like stop the recording.
There you go, bud. But yeah, so absolutely hilarious, like so quotable. Me and my siblings will like quote this all the time. And I would just learn like massive segments. I really love the joke of like he opens the door and there's
The
like
ninjas?
ninjas and stuff trees. Like, what's this for? It's like nothing. I just always wanted to open a door and there'd be like people training behind it. Obviously, the soundtrack is amazing. Like, it's so good. And we all know the Bohemian Rhapsody headbanging scene and everything.
I was thinking about that recently, and I was like, if they ever remade Wayne's World, which they won't, I'm not saying they should. I was like, if they ever did, you can't do Bohemian Rhapsody again. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out what song they would do for the modern take. I was like, they should do Chop Suey by System of a Down.
Yeah,
like
that would be
that'd be the modern version of it.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely.
So many great, like it's so quotable. Like
Yeah.
and also I think that Garth is much funnier than Wayne.
Yeah, he is.
Like my favorite line in that movie is, "Who's gonna eat you, Mr. Donovan? I don't know, but they better not." And like yes, and it's the choice of a new generation.
Yeah,
like the whole
whole product placement scene, and like the
thanks.
Getting the guitar and a stairway tonight.
I like to play. Hey, if you're gonna spew into this.
And obviously, I know the whole gun rack bit like off by heart, completely off by heart. Stacey alert.
She's like a hose beast.
It's just brilliant. And like just doing all the different voices and everything, and
camera 1, camera 2,
yeah.
camera 1.
So yeah, no, and Elizabeth loves Mike Myers as well. So that ended up being like something that I really got to bond with her over because she loved Wayne's World too, as in Wayne's World as well.
No one loves Wayne's World too.
Yeah. Oh, it's not that bad.
No, it's not bad. It's just the first one is so good. Although, like, I'll be honest, just like they did like a 30 years later sequel with Bill and Ted, I'd take another Wayne's World.
Yeah, same.
Like, give it another shot. Yeah, it's just really. We haven't even talked about Rob Lowe.
Like, that's right. He's great in it.
There's the villain, like, and obviously, like, he is also number 2 in Austin Powers 2 as well. Rob Lowe's great. Like, all the people who work on the production are great.
Yeah.
Noah's Arcade, like the rap.
Yeah. Oh my god, the rap.
It's I haven't watched that movie in, I would say, at least 15 years. Like the last time I watched that movie would have been before we lived together. I think.
No,
I don't think we've watched it together.
No, we watched it in Lilydale. We would have.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did.
Maybe. I mean, look, it's been, I would say, at least 10. I haven't watched Wayne's World. I couldn't tell you the last time I watched it.
Oh, okay.
So I'm due for a rewatch.
There you go.
They just released like a really sweet Blu-ray overseas, but now they don't import to Australia anymore, so that's dumb.
Oh, well.
So I'll have to watch it like a
chump.
Yeah, like a chump. I think I've got a DVD somewhere. I've probably got a couple of them.
Well, that's the other problem is that we don't have the Wayne's World DVD because when I went and I bought a combo of Wayne's World 1 and Wayne's World 2 from JB Hi-Fi, and they accidentally, in the combo, you know how, remember when they used to have to put the discs in? They gave me 2 Wayne's World 2s.
Yeah, but I've got the box set as well.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, so I think it's in the garage.
Yeah.
In the garage.
Right, so that's my number 3.
Great flick.
That's your number 3.
My number 3, until I wrote my list, I didn't even realize it was in my top 5. Like, it's a movie that it came out of the nose. I didn't watch for the first time until I was in my late 20s. And when I watched, I was like, it was just like Speed. I was like, I was too late to this. And then I rewatched it last year. I was like, no, this is brilliant. It's the only horror film on my list. And it's Scream.
Okay.
Scream is...
Which I've never seen.
It's brilliant. Like, honestly, I think you'd struggle with it.
Oh, struggle?
Yeah.
Because it's scary?
Like, it's... The opening 15, 20 minutes of the film is terrifying.
Oh, really?
Like, so it's really iconic. Like you would know bits and pieces of it.
Yeah, it's the phone. She gets the phone call.
It's the Drew Barrymore thing,
Yeah.
but like it's really violent. Like it's really
Oh.
shockingly gory and stuff like that. But also like she's home alone and she gets like kind of stabbed by the Ghostface killer. But then like her parents find her and
Oh,
so
God.
yeah, it's really
that's
full
sad.
on. I was watching. I'm like, this is way more intense than I expected. There's also like a subplot which I won't get into too much detail because it is a bit confronting and is a bit triggering. But it's a subplot about like the Sydney's mum and like how she was like murdered like like the year before the killings and stuff. It it just gets really dark. I'm not gonna talk about
Yeah.
that too much. But that being said, like it's not a parody, but it just like kind of takes the idea of the slasher genre. It is meta and it kind of turns it on its head, but in a really fun and engaging way while still being violent and scary. Like
Mm.
the cast is great. You've got Nev Campbell, who at this point I think was maybe coming off a Party of Five. She hadn't been doing too much. She was relatively new to the scene. You've got Courtney Cox, who obviously was in Friends by this stage,
Yeah.
but she was like, I always get cast as the same character. I want to play a mean character. I want to play a character
Yeah.
who can be like a badass and stuff. So she
Mm.
plays the reporter, Gail Weathers. You've got David Arquette.
Oh, is that how they met?
That's how they met.
Mm.
Yeah. And he's really charming and like and funny and like he's a bit of a goof in this film and like over the course of the films he becomes more confident. Like you've seen Scream 4, I showed you that one.
Yeah.
And by that point he is kind of like more confident stuff. You got Matthew Lillard, who played Shaggy in the Scooby Doo movie.
Oh.
He
and Brock Hudson in no, not
She's
Brock. Yeah, Brock Hudson.
Yeah.
And she's a lot.
Yeah. So you got him, Jamie Kennedy. So Jamie Kennedy was like a comedian. He's a comedian and stuff, and he plays Randy, who's like a film nerd. Like he works in a video store, and like he's the guy who's explaining like the rules of horror movies. Is like if you're gonna like they're at a party at the end of the film, and like the killer's on the loose, and they're all like kind of
because that's what you do.
Like,
there's a killer on the loose, so you go to have a party.
They've all broken curfew, and they're at a party, and he's like, "Look, there are rules. So rule number 1, you don't have sex. Rule number 2, you don't say, 'I'll be right back.'" Like it's like it's hard to explain why it works so well. Like the self-awareness is a big part of it. It's just a really well executed slasher. It's a long film. It's almost 2 hours long, which is quite long for horror. I'm not talking about like this cerebral horror films you get these days, which are like 3 hours long, like Midsummer.
Yeah.
But like for the time, like slashers were like 90 minutes or less.
Yeah.
And this film like took its time to develop its characters and kind of tell the story. And it's really well done. Like even though I know who the killers are now, when I'm watching it, I forget because like it's also kind of a whodunit. Like because the idea is the killer's not an immortal, and in each film the killer's different. So it's like the mantle is passed on. It's never like it's not like Jason or Freddy who come back. It's not this, and that's what makes it scary as well. I think is that it's not like a supernatural being. At the end of the day, it's just someone with a grudge. Someone who just wants to kill a bunch of teenagers, and that makes it scary as well because it's a lot more. I guess it's a lot more grounded. But it's just so well done. I don't know how much more I can say about it. Like it's well written. It's funny. It's scary.
So is Drew Barrymore only in the first bit of the movie?
Yeah. Like she was in like a little promotional work and stuff, but she's literally like she's just there to be the first one killed. Like, which was I think really ballsy, like a really bold choice, and definitely put bums in seats for that movie. It's a great flick.
Well, it must have been because it's made like what 5 sequels.
Scream 6 came out this year, so they did like the first 2 were in the 90s,
and there's obviously the fan films.
That
you have interviewed people for.
So
it's got a big following.
Oh, it's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge, and it's Wes Craven. So Wes Craven at that point was known for Freddy Krueger. Like he created Freddy Krueger. He'd done The Hills Have Eyes. He'd done Last House on the Left. I think he'd done People Under the Stairs at this point. But in the 90s, he was trying to do something a little bit different. And Kevin Williamson, who's the guy who wrote it, they kind of like took the idea of like, why don't we do a slasher, but we'll just comment on the genre, like because at that point slashers had become a bit of a joke. Like Freddy had 7 sequels at that point. Jason had like 8. Like they'd become kind of a parody unto themselves. So like, what if we do it right? We do it like we do it in a way that it can be fun and meta, but also let's make it scary again. And like as I said, like that film is 30 years old, maybe more at this point, or at least very close to 30. And I watched it like earlier this year, and the first 20 minutes still like terrifying, like really like, and maybe my opinions changed because I'm a father now as well, and the idea of parents coming home to like their child getting hurt like is really
Yeah.
upsetting. But it's really well done. And I would say arguably the best horror film of the 90s.
I really think that it really put focus on horror. I really think it was probably the epitome of horror movies in the 90s, because I remember that ghost face mask was just like exploded. It was everywhere.
Well,
like for Halloween, years after that movie, people would dress up as Ghostface. Like it really, like if you could say what was the horror movie of the 90s, it would be Scream.
I agree.
Absolutely, it would be Scream.
I agree. And do you remember there was like...
I mean, you had even the parody movies that were made.
Scary Movie.
Scary movies based off
And
Scream.
that's why I struggled with Scream the first time, because I'd seen Scary Movie so often. Then when I finally watched Scream, I was like, oh, I'm not really surprised by any of this. But then watching it again last year for the first time in close to a decade, I was like, oh, this works. Then I watched it again, as I said, back in the February or March. I was like, no, this flick is great. It's so well done. And I don't know if you remember, but there was a story on like a current affair, like in the 90s, about like a child who'd seen Scream when they shouldn't have, and like they went into psychosis, which I don't think is true. I think it was a current affair, like just doing the current affair thing. But like it was breaking down like all the different like mediums. Like it was just kind of like it was everywhere.
Yeah. That and Blair Witch Project. I reckon those are the two movies. Two movies, if you say horror movies in the 90s, those two.
Yeah, they're the big ones. Like there were a bunch of Halloween films. There were a bunch of Jasons and Freddys as well. There were in a couple of Texas Chainsaw Massacres, but
if you spoke to just somebody on the street,
Scream is the one. Like absolutely. Blair Witch is one that I've had trouble with. I remember I was talking to Tyler about it when he was.
But I think Blair Witch is so prominent because it was different from what people were like, oh my God, they thought it was real. Yeah.
I would actually also add to the 90s, I Know What You Did Last Summer. That's
that's true.
Which is a really fun one. But Scream is just, I think Kevin Williamson also wrote I Know What You Did Last Summer. I think he did Scream and that. But anyway, so that's my number 3. Would never have guessed it would be my top 5, a year ago, but I love it. Yeah,
there you go.
Number 2.
All right. My number 2 is a movie that I mentioned. It was a UK movie that was really big for developing my sense of cool Britannia and falling in love with the UK. There's another Mike Myers film. It's Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery.
Interesting, because you and I have differing opinions on the Austin Powers films.
Do we?
Oh, I love Spy Who Shagged Me. Like that's my favorite one.
Yeah, look, that's fine.
It was my first one.
Yeah, okay. So the first Austin Powers was my first one.
Yeah.
So this was a huge movie in my childhood because this was the movie that like Elizabeth watched and just went and like clung. Did she mention this in her episode?
She hasn't done a 90s one yet, where she recorded that in a couple of days, but she, in her top 5 of all time, it was in there.
Yeah. This movie like defined her in her teenage years. Like she became like a hippie and was all into like flower power. She had like a 60s, like she loved the 60s. And so we watched the movie a lot when we were younger, so it was playing a lot. This was the movie that actually made me go, I'd like to be an actor.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Because I could do the British accent, because watching the movie I was quoting it so much, and I was doing Austin's accent, and Austin, Mrs. Kensington is long since retired. Ms. Kensington is her daughter. This was the movie that made me love Liz Hurley.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah. So I remember, I don't know if you remember this, because this might not have been something that happened in your primary school, and this also might not have been something that you were aware of because it was the girls doing it. But in the 90s, there was this really big craze of girls having these friend books, right? So there were these books that had, excuse me, Loki. There were these books that had like not quizzes, but like bio sheets in them.
Okay.
So you had like, what's your name? What's your age? What's your address? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite movie? Who's your favorite actors? What's your favorite this? What's your favorite that? Blah, blah, blah. And what you would do is you would share that book around to all the girls in the class and all your friends, and everybody would fill it in.
Interesting.
And so that's when I said, because it's been a long established thing in our relationship that when I was younger, I wrote down in the book that my favorite actors were Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah.
And my favorite actress was Liz Hurley. And that's because I thought Matt LeBlanc was really funny in Friends, even though I didn't watch heaps of Friends. He was one that I remembered, and he was good looking. And I loved Liz Hurley because of Austin Powers. And so just to let you know, that's how that all ties together. That's another piece of the puzzle of my childhood. So when I say, Matt LeBlanc is my favorite actor, he's not my favorite actor. But when I was younger, I was put on the spot to answer this question. And I was like, Matt LeBlanc.
Yeah, had you seen you hadn't seen Speed at this point, obviously.
No, I had not seen Speed at this point. And those were just my go-to answers. They just became my go-to answers. Loki keeps groaning. But yeah, so we watched Austin Powers a lot. We owned the VHS tape. Elizabeth owned the soundtrack, which is such a good soundtrack because it's all 60s songs. And it's just like brilliant. And we would listen to that soundtrack. Like I would steal it from my room. I would borrow it and I'd play it in my room. And then I'd sneakily
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Elvis Costello.
Yeah. And it was just wonderful. And like, it's such a beautiful movie because it's just like this man who's just been transplaced in time. And so that whole bit where like he's in the hotel room and he's trying to catch up on the last few years. Who would have thought Liberace was gay?
Yeah.
I mean, women loved him.
He puts the CD on the record player.
Yeah. He puts the CD on the record player and everything like that. But he's going through this lonely, like being out of time and space. But right from that opening sequence is so good. And I reckon it
You mean the dance number?
The dance number, hands down, is one of the best opening sequences. Like, it's just phenomenal. And you can see by the end of it, he's panting.
Yeah. So that's...
Yeah, and he's doing, yeah. But I just love that. Oh, my God, it's Austin Powers! And they're all running. And it's so, like, Python-esque as well. Like, he's reading the magazine, but his face is on the magazine and everything. And he's, like, in the phone booth, and he turns around. He's, like, wearing a fake beard and a mustache and everything. And just, like, it's hilarious. It's got, like, nice, inappropriate jokes that are, like, borderline inappropriate for kids, but you can get away with it.
I remember the first time when the second one came out, it was very popular in primary school, the second one. And I wasn't allowed to see it, of course.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, asking my parents, I'm like, can we just watch, like, everyone's talking about this film. And the first one, I guess, because the second one's out in cinemas, the first one's on TV. And my dad was like, well, we'll watch it. And, like, if it's okay, we'll let you come out. And I remember, like, creeping around, like, looking down the hallway, because in the house I lived in at the time, there was, out, you went to the house, and then if you turned right, there were, like, two offshoots. My bedroom was there, my sister was there, my brother and I shared a room. And I came out, and if you went out the doorway again, you could see into the lounge where the TV was. And he turned it on, and I walked out just as A Lot of Vagina episode came on. And he was like, nope, not appropriate. And I was like, okay, fine.
See, here is my family, with me quoting in the living room, one Swedish-made penis enlarger pump.
Yeah.
One Swedish-made penis enlarger pump, and me. This sort of thing is my bag, baby. And my mum would not bat an eyelid. Like, no one in my family. Like, do you know what I mean? It's just hilarious. And, like, it's a great, like, just like Spice Girls, it's a great combination of jokes. There's visual gags, there's slapstick gags, there's verbal jokes and things like that. I love the whole fembot scene. Yeah. It's just fantastic.
What's the song that plays with that one?
I love myself.
That's right, yeah.
I want you to love me. Yeah. Or I touch myself, that's what it is, obviously. And it's just hilarious. And I just think it's so funny because, my mum would sit down and she'd watch that with us. and all the parts where it's like, he's hairy and he's got disgusting teeth, and women think that he's like this gorgeous sex symbol and stuff like that. And Mum goes, that's right. Women in the 70s and 60s were like really into chest hair, and now that's not the case. And Liz Hurley's just gorgeous as well. She's wonderful in it, and I don't know the actor's name, but he plays the guy who helps him.
Basil?
Yeah, Basil. Basil Exposition.
Yeah.
Basil Exposition.
Do you know how long it took me to realise, and even when people told me, I couldn't figure it out, that Mike Myers played Dr. Evil as well?
Yeah.
I was like, no, it's not the same person. I'm like, I can't see it. And like, it took me so long to like believe it. I'm like, this is so different. And like now you look at it like it's so clearly.
and Will Ferrell playing
Mustafa,
the wood is beginning to smell like almonds.
That's the second movie.
Badly burnt.
Yeah. The almonds one is the second one. That's my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah. Which is something you couldn't get away with today. Like,
who does number 2 work for?
You show that to her as well. That's Tom Arnold next to it.
My name is Richie Cunningham, and this is my lovely wife, Oprah. My mum loved that joke.
Yeah. I also like to live dangerously. I'll stand. 16 beats your floor.
Yeah, that's right. And we'd always be like, that's Soup Nazi. That's the Soup Nazi.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's the same actor who plays the Soup Nazi. So that was a huge movie in our family.
Is this the one also where the guy gets run over by the steamroller?
Yes, it is. And he's like, 200 meters away. No, move out of the way.
Yeah. So I always get confused with that one and the one where he gets the van stuck in the car.
That's the same one, yeah.
Oh, is that the same one?
That's number one.
Is this also Orange Sherbet?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going across the street to get you some Orange Sherbet. There's your Orange Sherbet.
Thank you. It's just really great. And just like I love, because I think this is really the movie that actually made me fall in love with the 60s as well. Like I fell in love with, at the time, not as much as Elizabeth did. Because Elizabeth was like, she went full hippie after watching this. She was very much like, her whole style changed. The way she decorated her room and everything like that. She went full into it. But I watched it and I was like, oh, I really love, like back then I didn't realize it was like, the futuristic 60s, the mid-century modern kind of 60s. And mixed with also like the hippie 60s, the flower power 60s, the British wave of 60s, like psychedelic 60s. Because it was really like the Dr. Evil stuff is really that kind of modern, sort of modern retro, mid-century modern, whereas the Austin Powers side is more the psychedelic stuff. And so watching the movie was like, oh, I really love like that style, and I thought it was so cool. And that's, to this day, plays a part in my choices in fashion, plays a part in my choices of like home decoration, and it all stems from being exposed to it in Austin Powers. So it's really had an impact on my life.
It's a really fun movie. I've said that about a lot of the movies that we talked about, but like that's, I think, something you can take away from the 90s is there was a real sense of fun about a lot of the movies.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing took itself too seriously.
No, definitely. Excellent. My number 2, also a fun movie.
Who does number 2 work for, James?
Do you know that?
It's a poo joke.
No, I understand that, but do you know that that's something that Nick Owen says every time he's on the show?
Oh, does he?
Every time he gets to number 2 on the list, he goes, tell me who does number 2 work for. Like every single appearance.
Done, Nick.
Yeah, he's done it like every single time.
I remember he's done it. Once or twice, but I didn't realize he did it every single time.
Like,
good on you, Nick.
When we're doing our episode 50, I'm sure he'll do it. And everyone will be like, what's he talking about?
I won't be. I'll know what he's talking about.
My number 2 is also, it's a comedy. I only showed it to you for the first time last year, and I was like, I think it's good. I remember really liking it, but I haven't seen it in a little while. I don't know if it holds up. It's a legal comedy from the 90s, starring Ralph Macchio from Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Joe Pesci.
Yeah.
And of course Marissa Tomei. It's My Cousin Vinny.
My Cousin Vinny.
Which is a brilliant movie.
So good.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, it's a great law film.
I just remembered the scene in the jail.
Yes.
Where it's like, don't listen to me, you're gonna get fucked.
Yeah, and the wordplay in
Yeah.
that scene is second to none.
Yeah.
But like, first of all, like, take the comedy out of it. Just as like, I love watching like legal dramas. I love courtroom films and stuff like that. That's why I'm a big Daredevil fan. I love courtroom dramas like that. So first of all, the courtroom stuff is great.
Yeah.
Then you throw in Joe Pesci, who's like this wise ass, who's
Yeah.
not as smart as he thinks he is,
Yeah.
and like he's like a New Yorker, like trying to fit in like this kind of like
Country bumpkin.
this southern town. His cousin is like on trial for murder, even like, but he's falsely accused for murder,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And then you've got Marissa Tomei, who's like a
Who won an Oscar for this?
Won an Oscar for it. She's either like from New Jersey or Staten Island, but she's like a very like Italian, like Italian.
Like, I don't know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Like, I was talking to Vinny, and he was saying this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's all that. You've got Fred Gwynne, who was Herman Munster in The Munsters. He plays the judge.
Yeah.
It's such a great movie. It's just fun, and like the dialogue is sharp. Like the visual and audio jokes, like the whole idea that no matter where he stays in town, he always gets woken up by the train or like the cows or whatever, or the rooster. The fact that he actually isn't the lawyer they think he is. He's never actually had a case before. It's his first time doing it.
And he's not like a homicide lawyer. He's like a rental property lawyer. Or like something like a completely different category.
It's got nothing to do with what he's coming to.
Yeah.
And like he has to pretend that he has been a lawyer.
Yeah.
Like he has to keep lying about it. The judge.
And he doesn't have a suit. Like
the
judge is like, when you walk into a courtroom, you wear a suit. It's like this is all I got.
He wore the and they has to like buy like the weird crush velvet suit. And like just the way like as he kind of immerses himself into the town, he learns things that helps him win the case. Like so he's learning about grits, and then grits comes up later in the court case. It's a perfect balance of comedy and drama for me.
Yeah.
Like, because the case is serious and you're invested in the law side of things. Like, you're really invested in that story. But then, like, Joe Pesci just says something ridiculous. Or, like, gets himself into some sort of trouble. Like, he has to sleep in his car and the car gets bogged down.
Yeah.
And, like, the suit gets muddy. So then he has to go and buy the crushed velvet suit we're talking about. But when you get to see him finally, like, or doesn't he, like, swear in court or whatever?
Yeah, that's right.
And the judge doesn't take too kindly. It's just, I just love it so much.
Well, that was the thing. Like, I've never watched it. So the first time I watched it was like with you last year.
Yeah, last year.
Yeah, last year.
It was only a few months ago. Well, I think it was in November. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was literally like quite recently because I remember I only knew about it through Seinfeld.
Of course, yeah.
When George like is like,
Marissa Tomei, Jerry.
I could have been going out with an Oscar winner. And then, you know, Susan comes home and he's watching my cousin Vinny. And I was just kind of like, every time I'd sort of seen little clips or bits of what it was, I didn't really understand because I was like, oh, it's set in a courtroom or something like that. So I didn't have any concept as to what it actually was. But I tell you what, when I watched it last year with you, it's bloody hilarious. It was so good.
Funny. And, like, it was during a time where I think we were, like, I say during a time, like, as if it hasn't stopped. Like, we were really tired after work and stuff, so we weren't, like, sure if we could get through a whole movie.
Yeah.
Because it's about 2 hours. I was like, we'll just give it a go. Like, if we have to stop, we do. And, like, we sat through that entire thing.
Yeah.
It was just, like, punchy. But even the kids, like Ralph Macchio and his buddy or whatever, like, they confessed to the murder not realizing.
Yeah.
They're like, it was an accident. Like
a tin of tuna or something.
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. Like, we didn't mean it, but yeah, sure, I did it. Like,
yeah. So they're like confessing
this kid's showing no remorse.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, like, I don't want to give too much away about how, like, I'll say this, like, Joe Pesci carries the film.
Yeah.
Up until when Marissa Tomei gets on the stand, and then she owns that movie.
Yeah.
And it's the most memorable part of the film. Like,
well, that's the thing. I'm amazed by the fact that she won an Oscar for this. I'm assuming for like Best Actress.
It might have been Best Supporting. I'm not sure.
Or Best Supporting.
But it would have been one of those.
But it's like so rarely does a comedy movie get nominated at the Oscars.
Yeah.
Like it's usually always dramas.
Yeah.
So rarely will someone win an award for a comedic performance.
Yeah.
So I thought that was great.
But she's so good in it. Like,
Mm.
yeah, like she's great at the whole way through. But when she gets on the stand, it just
And she's like angry at Joe Pesci's character.
she doesn't want to help him
She
out,
doesn't want to help him out.
but she
you
wants
know,
to help out the
before.
cousin, so she
Yeah.
will do. And she just lays down the law. It's so funny. It's so well done, and it's just a great flick.
Mm.
So if you haven't seen My Cousin Vinny, get on it. It's so good. I have a feeling our number ones are the same.
Oh, really?
I think.
Okay.
Unless, well, maybe not. Okay, I'll let you say your number one. I was going to say.
Should we say it at the same time? What if we say different things at the same time?
Well, it's going to be funny. All right, we'll say it at the same time and see if we do the same one.
Well, hang on a second. We'll go 3, 2, 1. Say it.
Okay.
Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
The Matrix. Yes! I knew it.
The Matrix.
Like that was just like Laminator in Taskmaster. I figured the Matrix would be your number one, and I'll let you do some talking first.
Yeah. So, other than Harry Potter, there's been 3 major franchises in my life, in my childhood. Pocahontas was the first one. That was the first obsession that I was ever like, oh my god, this is my life. I will own everything that is Pocahontas themed. And then it was Harry Potter, and then it was Matrix. I mean, it's still Harry Potter. Matrix has fallen away from this, but when Matrix first came out, I was like, this is mind bending. Like, I was so like, first of all, Keanu Reeves. This was the first movie that I ever saw with Keanu Reeves, and I was like, who is this Adonis? Adonis of a man. And I was just like, Daniel Radcliffe, who?
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, Daniel Radcliffe is a boy.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves is a man.
That was like my sexual awakening, basically. If you would call it that, I don't know.
The erotic awakening of a young girl.
Yes. And it was just like, also, it was just, obviously, there is nothing like the Matrix. The whole concept, the whole idea of like, the world is a program and everything that you see and do is just a fabricated idea because we're all being ruled by these machines and stuff like that. And like, obviously, like the first time I watched it, I was like, I do not understand this at all.
The Matrix Man.
The Matrix Man. I don't understand the Matrix Man. And so then it wasn't until like I remember like watching it and getting to the end and he stops the bullets and I was like, this is amazing. I don't understand any of this, but this is so amazing. I have to watch it again to figure it out. And it wasn't until I watched it the 3rd time that I actually understood. And I mean like 3 times like in a row. Maybe not in a row on the same day, but I would say in a row in the same week.
Yeah.
And then it was the 3rd time I watched it. I was like, oh, I get it. I understand it. Because I think it came out in 1999. Yeah. So I would have been grade
5.
6.
5.
5?
Yep.
Really?
2000 was grade 6. I didn't see it till I was in high school, I don't think. I think I was in high school when I first saw it. Or like,
yeah, I didn't watch it in grade 5.
I would have been grade 6, year 7 when I saw it. Cause
I would have been in year 8.
Yeah. It was the first DVD I ever bought.
Yeah, I was in year 8 because I remember year 9 was when I covered my school diary with pictures of The Matrix. I printed off the script and I had it pasted on the back pages. So whenever I wanted to read, whenever I was like, I'm in class and I'm like, I can't watch The Matrix right now, I'd flip to the script glued in my planner and I would read the script.
I was in year 7. I got a PlayStation 2 for my birthday, and it could play DVDs. And I was like, finally, I can get movies.
Yeah.
This is when the collecting started. This is when the collecting. If people have listened to the show or like look at Instagram, like how did it all begin? This is where it begins.
Yeah.
So I get the PlayStation 2 for my birthday. I can get DVDs, and I go to. It's not called EB Games. It's called Electronics Boutique. Like that's what it was called. And there were like 2 stores.
Yeah.
And they sold DVDs, and like I think I spent $60 on 2 DVDs.
Yeah.
Because they were $30-something each. And the first 2 movies I bought were the David Duchovny, Sean William Scott alien invasion film Evolution, and The Matrix.
And The Matrix, yeah.
And I
I wore that disc out. Like
yeah.
it's so like you're right. There's nothing like it. And I know that Keanu Reeves copped a lot of flack for his performance over the
It
years.
was brilliant.
Yeah, like it's not like he.
I memorized the whole like kung fu move bit and everything.
Stop trying to hit me and hit me.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about quotable films, like the amount of times where I just do nothing.
Yeah.
The cipher moment.
Dodge this.
Dodge this. Yeah.
I don't remember when I bought the DVD, but I do remember buying the soundtrack from Sanity, which is where it was at Knox, which was right next to the cinemas at that point in time. And I remember buying this. I remember buying the soundtrack. I also remember I was at work one day because this is back when I worked at the coffee club at Knox. I was at work and I was doing a night shift. It was like late night shopping. So I remember it was night. It was Borders was open. That's right, Borders.
I remember Borders there, yeah.
And I'd been in Borders before my shift started, and they had the Art of the Matrix, the book, and it was $120. And I went into work and I was like, oh, I really want this book, but I don't know if I should get it. And so then I went on my break. I went into Borders and I spent $120, which was a lot of money for someone who was only earning $9.17 an hour. I spent $120 on this slightly damaged.
Yeah, it was Borders, of course it was, yeah.
And I was not happy with that. And they were like, why didn't you ask for a discount? And I was like, because I'm too scared to. And we still have that book today. It's like on our bookshelf.
I spent a similar amount of money on my Crystal Lake Memories book that I bought. I think also from Borders.
Yeah.
Maybe it was Readings in the cinema, in the city. But yeah, I bought that and I spent like $100 on like Justice League art books and stuff like that as well. Like, but I've done that. But like, I would have been on a similar pay rate to you when I bought that Crystal Lake Memories one because I was working at McDonald's or something. Yeah, it's
brilliant. But also the soundtrack is so good.
Like it introduced a generation to Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah. And just like because I think that what's really interesting is at the beginning of the movie is really nondescript. It's very, very quiet. It's very dark as well, like visually, not thematically. Visually, it's very dark. It's very quiet. It's just this guy who's in his room and he's like programming or he's doing whatever with his computer. It's all very, very quiet. And then once you get introduced to like the Matrix and he takes the blue pill and all that sort of stuff like that. Blue pill? Red pill?
I was thinking the same thing. I think it's a blue pill.
Is it blue pill? I feel the blue pill sends you back home. Isn't it the red pill?
Oh, it's our favourite film. We can't remember.
But we're pushing in mid-30s, James.
The pill. The right pill. The one that matters.
The correct pill.
Yeah.
And then, like, do you notice, like, the whole rest of the movie yes, there's still darkness, especially, like, when they're in, like, the Nebuchadnezzar and all that sort of stuff like that. But, like, it's kind of like this light just gets brought into the film and you have all these, like, the whole dojo scene is very light. The scene where he's like, this is the program room and it's all white and everything and his glasses don't have a reflection because there's nothing to reflect. Like, there's this whole lightness comes into the movie, which I think is really interesting. And then you have those action sequences contrasted against those moments of real quietness. I just thought it was amazing. I thought Keanu Reeves was amazing. And, like, it just spawned everything. Like, I watched the Animatrix. I had, like, oh, my God, to the point where I gotta finish this thought before I say it. So I had the Animatrix. I had, like, the making of the Matrix on VHS. Yep, Matrix Revisited on VHS. And in the Matrix Revisited, Keanu Reeves is being interviewed and he talks about reading all of these meta existential books, and one of them is Simulacra and Simulation, the book Simulacra and Simulation, about, like, what are we as human entities and, you know, spontaneous combustion and all this kind of stuff like that. And I was like, I'm going to buy that book. I went to Borders and I bought Simulacra and Simulation because Keanu Reeves mentioned it in the and this book is fucking hard to read.
Yeah.
I think I read, as like a 16-year-old,
Yeah.
I read like the first 3 pages and I'm like, I don't understand any of this. And I'm pretty sure it's still on our bookshelf.
Yeah.
Because it's all about like the metaphysics of what it is to be a human being. Or I don't even know. Something like that. But man, I fucking love this movie. And then I remember seeing number 2 in cinemas with Elizabeth and David. And I remember it was like the movie finished at like, 10 p.m. or something like that. And we're walking back to the car. And I go to like one of the phone booths that's there at Knox, and I pick it up and go, I'm in. And Elizabeth lost it. She thought it was hilarious. So yeah, so that was. Well, do you talk about it as well?
I think that was the first franchise that I was like, I'm following this. Like I had to go see all the movies in cinemas because I think it wrapped up before Lord of the Rings did. Because I think part 2 and part 3 came out the same year as Lord of the Rings. But Lord of the Rings was a Christmas film.
Yeah.
They always got released on Boxing Day.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Matrix was released earlier. I remember when the third one came out, I remember saying to my dad, I'm like, hey, I know we were going to see this, but my friends want to go and see it. Can I go and see it? He's like, yeah, just go see it. I don't care. I was like he did not care at all. But I thought that like I would have like broken his heart or something.
Yeah.
Like before we talk about speed, and I said like there's nothing like to me it redefines action films. Like there's nothing like it. And there have been imitators since then, and there was like a big chunk of 2000s films where they all tried to do bullet time. They're like, oh, we can all do it.
Yeah.
Like even Scary Movie 2 had bullet time in it.
Did it?
Like they had like someone do the crane kick and stuff like that. But like everyone thinks of the subway scene. Like, him and Smith like, at each other, like literally tearing the subway down.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks of like the lobby scene with like dodging all the bullets, the rooftop thing, the helicopter. I never hear anyone talk about them inside the walls.
Yes.
Like, which is sort of claustrophobic shit. And then Morpheus just like breaks through it. It's the way people talked about the film when it came out and in the 2000s, they talked about Keanu Reeves being very like non-emotive, and they talked about
stoic.
But like in a kind of a critical way, which I didn't understand. So I'm like, well, that's the point of the character. Like even as a 13-year-old, I was like, that's the point of the character. And like people talk about these films about kind of being almost the way they talk about Christopher Nolan films, like they're devoid of joy, which is not true about The Matrix or Christopher Nolan films. Like there's some really fun moments. Like the most fun character in those films is Mouse.
Yeah.
And like when he gets killed, I'm like, oh my god, because he's like, I know he's the spoilers for a 30-year-old film. I know he's like an adult, but he kind of feels like the kid of the bunch.
Yeah,
he's like,
that's right.
Like he designed like the girl in the red dress, and like he even like when he's looking after the phone or whatever, he's got like a pin-up of her. Like he created a magazine to check out the woman in the red. It's just I don't know. It's very teenage boy, but I find the music. It's just the other recurring joke from The Matrix is this one. Which is the throat punch.
The throat punch. But that's only a joke in your family. That's not, other people won't see that as it. That's not
no, even my friends know, like, because the reaction's so funny. It's such a cool film.
Yeah.
Like, the late 90s, early 2000s, everyone was wearing leather.
Yeah.
Like, I think the first film to do it was Blade. Like, Blade was the first big one, and then The Matrix. And then like the X-Men all wore leather and stuff like that. But that was probably the worst version of it. Like it's very cheesy. But like I'd seen that film was like, well, yeah, we got to wear trench coats.
Yeah.
Like we got to wear leather. We got to wear sunglasses that don't have arms on them. Like everything about it was just such a stylized piece. And then you go into the real Earth where the Nebuchadnezzar and stuff is, and it's so like barren and like it's such a wonderful kind of polar opposite where you're like. The world that we know is like you can kind of do magic basically, and then you look at the real world, you're like, oh.
I also feel like it was the first movie that I watched that really paid attention to the color palette.
Yeah,
like the fact that every time they're in the Matrix, everything's green, and every time they're in the Nebuchadnezzar, everything's blue, and like they really like paid attention to that and like made it so that it was obvious but not like too obvious.
No, absolutely.
And I really like as a young person watching it, I like really appreciated that.
The score is also brilliant, like the whole like dial tone and like the
I'm pretty sure I had the score on CD as well.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. The whole like birthing pods, like the jelly.
Oh yeah.
I wanted
the suction sound of him pulling all the cords out of his back.
Which, by the way, those prosthetics look fantastic.
Yeah.
Like especially the one in the back of the head. Like it still looks great. It's probably just glued on, but it looks so good. The whole Oracle scene, there is no spoon.
Yeah.
And I haven't watched Revelations in a little while. So I watched Revolutions when it came out a couple of years ago. I think we watched the first one recently. I said in the last year or two, and then we watched what's the next one? Reloaded.
Yeah.
And Reloaded, I didn't like in the cinemas. I was like, oh, it felt very style over substance at the time. But going back and watching it, I'm like, no, this is great.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of almost like, and this is like that's a weird comparison. It's almost like Mad Max Fury Road, where it's like there's stuff going on in this film. There is story, but really it's about them from getting point A to point B. Like that's all Reloaded is. It's trying to get to the keymaker and get to the what's the guy's name? Not the engineer.
The architect.
Architect. Yep, close. And 3 I haven't seen in a while, but I remember 3. There's like weird S&M clubs and upside down spike head people, and there's like I haven't seen it in a little while. I remember that was the one that people kind of
3. I remember the least.
It has the war, like everyone's like firing like the machine guns.
Yeah, and then Neo goes blind.
Yes, and he looks a lot like a Mortal Kombat character, who already looks like Keanu Reeves quite a bit. And then, well, actually, at the end of Reloaded, is the end of Reloaded where it turns out his powers work outside of the Matrix? Or was that not discovered till Revelations?
I can't remember.
I feel like at the end of Reloaded, like
Revolutions.
There's Revolutions and Revelations.
Revelations is the new one with Keanu Reeves with the long hair, and he doesn't.
And Revolutions is the yes. So
is that new one called Revelations?
Yeah.
Oh.
Resurrection.
I was like, it's not.
I mean, look, they're both biblical words.
Yeah.
Sorry, like it's been a moment.
So Revolutions is 3, and then it's Resurrections. Resurrections is 4.
My bad. I think the end of Reloaded is the cliffhanger because the Sentinel come in, he puts up his hand, and they all stop. I think that's how it ends. I don't know how much more I can say about the Matrix. I think it's brilliant. Like, there's nothing like it before. There's been nothing like it since. And even the sequels don't. You know, like I like all the movies. None of them have the impact that first one does. Like that, we haven't even talked about Agent Smith.
Oh yeah, we haven't even mentioned Agent Smith,
who is maybe one of the top 5 best villains in any movie. Like, just the whole. Like, he's so arrogant.
Oh, that whole scene where like Keanu Reeves is like how can you blah 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 if you can't speak, and then his mouth starts like melding shut.
Yeah. Honestly, like when I went and saw Lord of the Rings, all I could see and hear was Agent Smith. I'm like, well, he's clearly Elrond's a villain. He's gonna betray them. Like, I've seen The Matrix. Like, that's
I've seen The Matrix. I know. I know that Elrond's a villain. I've seen The Matrix.
Just because, like, he's so convincing. In The Matrix. I
couldn't believe after I watched The Matrix that Hugo Weaving was Australian.
Yeah. That whole monologue about, like, do you know what I hate about this? It's the smell. I know. I
used to know it off by heart.
Yeah, me
I don't
too.
know it anymore.
It's actually a film filled with great monologues. Like that whole monologue where Morpheus is like, which turns human beings into this. It's just a battery. And like there's like the lightning in the background, and there's the weird sofa. In the rocks. Oh, I knew it was going to be on number 1. I'm so glad that I was right. Like, that we could be said at the same time. It's pretty perfect.
Yeah.
Like, it's a really, really.
It's really hard to fault it.
Yeah, it's great. So those are our top 5.
Yeah.
Pretty solid list.
I reckon really solid list.
I agree.
Very, very solid. Are there any that have, because other people have done their 90s now as well, are there any that we have said that they have also said?
So Nick said The Matrix. That was his number 1 as well. No one else said any of our movies.
What did number 2 work for Nick?
Heat, which is a Michael Mann gangster film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He had a pretty cool list.
I should know from listening to the episode.
I know you don't listen to this, so it's all good. He had a cool list. But I like our lists.
Yeah, I think I'm really happy with mine.
Got some action, got some comedy, got some horror. Pretty happy with that. Which means we're now down to the 90s rapid fire round.
Oh yes, I totally forgot about this.
Don't worry, I've warned everyone. As the show progresses and the topics vary, the rapid fire questions get more difficult and stupid. It's because I'm running out of ideas. So
hopefully I'm able to answer with 90s movies and not movies from the 80s or 2000s.
There's only 4. They're pretty quick, and I'll answer them as well. So we'll take it in turns.
Yeah.
So first of all, Tina, which 90s movie has the best poster?
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I was.
Stupid question.
No, because I was going to say The Matrix, but am I only saying The Matrix just because we only just talked about The Matrix?
The Matrix was in my mind as well. I've got a couple in my mind.
The best 90s poster. This is not rapid at all.
It never is.
Maybe. I really don't know.
Do you hear the 4 that I have?
Yeah.
So The Matrix.
Yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Independence Day.
Yeah.
And Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
I think they're all pretty good posters.
I'm going to go with I'm going to go with no, that's a 2000s movie.
What are you going to say?
Gladiator.
It's literally the year 2000, yeah.
Yeah. Can you get back to? I'm gonna look at some posters. It's hard to picture it. You gotta look at them.
I think, like, in terms of iconic, I think Jurassic Park takes the cake. Like, it's such an iconic poster. Just that symbol.
Yeah.
So cool. Well, while you're doing that, I'll ask the next question. We've seen Brendan Fraser recently make a comeback.
Yeah.
Which 90s actor or actress is due for a comeback? Who haven't we seen really since the 90s? And we need them back.
We need them back.
We haven't
actor
seen
or actress.
They're big in the 90s.
Big in the 90s, and we need to see them come back.
And they might still be around, still working, but it's just not been.
Well, like I said, I'd like to see Liz Hurley again.
Yeah, I think that's a good one.
Liz Hurley was really great.
She had a couple of flicks in the 2000s.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, she did like Bedazzled
but then she didn't really do much since then. So I'm really going to go with Space Jam poster.
Yeah,
Space Jam poster. Yeah,
that's
totally
a good one.
Space Jam.
That's
poster.
a good one.
Space Jam's great.
Cool. I'm also going with an actress, and I'm saying Rachel Lee Cook from She's All That.
Oh yeah, she's great.
She's done stuff.
No, you know what? I'm changing it. Freddie Prinze Jr.
He's back.
He's back at what?
He's about to do a sequel to I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Well, good.
But yeah,
good.
but he's not quite back yet. So he's been doing voice work.
Freddie Prinze Jr. Man, I freaking love him.
He was in Clerks 3 as well.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze Jr. 100%.
That's a good one.
Second, Liz Hurley.
Nice one. This is a bit of a tricky one. It can be interpreted a number of different ways, so just interpret it as you wish. But which 90s movie do you think could be best improved by the technology of today? So 90s was very early CGI, so you might want to improve the CGI and stuff, or maybe you just think, it could have been shot better. Maybe it would have been better if it was shot on IMAX, something like that.
That's a good question.
Probably a rapid fire question, so we'll think of that one.
So then you got to think of movies where the CGI and the special effects aren't very good.
It could be, you could get in the CGI route. You can do it however you like. You might say, as I said, like, you might look at a film and be like, it would have been better if it was shot, shot on an IMAX camera or on like a high def camera. I don't know. Like, I didn't put too much thought in the question, but there's actually a lot of different ways you can take it.
Yeah. What do you think? What's your answer to this question?
I mean, I guess my initial thought was Men in Black, just because Edgar looks pretty rough.
I did think that.
But otherwise, like
maybe E.T.?
E.T. is an 80s film.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, they did do a re-release in the 90s where they removed all the guns and replaced them with walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
Because like The Matrix for me still holds up pretty strong. Like, so I don't need them to change anything with The Matrix.
Yeah. No, I don't need them to change anything with The Matrix. Matrix is good. Maybe one of the Batman movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the Batman movies.
And like by technology, it might just be like, they could have done some more impressive stunts and rigs and stuff like that. Maybe.
Yeah,
They could have done
and maybe like better costumes.
Yeah.
Slightly better.
I don't mind the costumes, like because they're real product of their time. But yeah, you could definitely do some changes there.
I'm gonna say specifically, the Batman that has Mr. Freeze and Poison Ivy.
Batman and Robin.
Yep. Because I think it needs to be reshot. Because I really don't like those high key angles where it looks down. Do you know what angles I'm talking about? Those high key angles where it looks down and it looks like it's almost fishbowl kind of effect.
Yeah.
I think it needs to have less of those shots in it.
Yep.
That's a very 90s. You realise that's actually a really 90s thing that was very prominent in music videos. Did you notice that?
Mm-hmm.
Like music videos all had that green filter over them and that kind of fisheye kind of high angle lens.
Interesting.
So yeah, I'm going to say Batman.
Nice one. The last question.
Mm-hmm.
Which 90s film, it's very popular now, to sequelize a movie years later but do it as a TV show instead?
Yeah.
So which 90s film deserves a sequel that's shot as a TV show or a miniseries?
Maybe something like Clueless.
Mm-hmm.
Something that's like a fun TV show for girls. I reckon your Empire Records could probably...
That's my answer.
Yeah.
I want to spend more time with those characters. Do like a sitcom. Doesn't need to be 7 seasons or anything.
No.
But yeah, you could do that. And like, you could have some of those characters who've grown up and they own their own record store, or like they had to move and work to the big chain because the big chain bought them out and stuff like that.
Maybe something like The Craft as well.
Ooh, I like that.
That would be a cool TV show,
That's
Craft.
A good one, yeah.
And it's about these girls in school, like
they get a prep school
and getting their like revenge on everything that's going on. So yeah, maybe like The Craft, or like a fun version of it would be Clueless. Yeah,
I like both of those. That is it. We have wrapped up this episode.
There we go.
Do you have anything to plug? You haven't. Do you still blogging at the moment?
I've taken a little bit of a hiatus with it, but I do want to get back into it. But you can you can check out any of my previous older posts. So it's the Feminist Mum blog handle on Instagram, and that leads you to my webpage where you can read all of my blog entries about being a mum and being a feminist.
Nice one. Excellent. That's going to do it. Thank you again for coming on the show and talking 90s films. This is one of your longer episodes, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like this is definitely one of my more excitable episodes because I was just like, oh my God! Like getting to reminisce.
Well, I was watching. I'm like, we're about an hour in at one point. I'm like, we're going to wrap up soon, and we went for another hour after that. Which was good. That's going to do it for this week's episode. Please follow along if you haven't been jumping on Instagram. Please check it out. I was a teenage film snob. Sorry. Underscores between every single word. I'm posting on there pretty much daily, sometimes multiple times a day. There's Blu-ray content. There's stories. I'm doing a lot of stories at the moment. I've started doing videos. Actually putting my face out there for once. I did a review for Super Mario the other night, which you can check out. We are mere weeks away from episode 50. We've recorded some of it already, and there's a lot more of that to come. Merch will be announced very, very soon in the next month also, as well as premium content. But that's all a conversation for another time. Until then, I want to thank my lovely wife again for joining me on the show. Thank you all for listening. Jump online, give us a review, 5 stars, nothing less. And as I say, that's a joke. I say that's how I wrap up every episode now. We'll take a 1-star review. Just someone say something. As I say every week, I was a teenage film snob, but I'm trying to be better. We'll see you next week.